Hello, hello. Day Lady here, live, coming to you from Baltimore, Maryland, and bringing you a St. Patrick's Day treat, a little murder mystery for us to solve, which I'm sure we can do. So I've still let's see, 2 minutes, 2 minutes till I go live, and then we will begin. Um, if anybody comes in later, however, you can ask questions in the chat. And also, this is going to be available on YouTube and uh, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook as a recording. So you got it live now, but you can still catch up with it later. Hey, Sarah, how are you? How's it going? How is the You know what? I think our weather is similar. I really do. I really do. I think it's similar. I'll be over that way this summer. Um, Ireland. I'm going to Ireland to take the summer course over in Donegal. And then I will, when the course is over, go to Dublin. And my cousin's going to come hang out with me. So it should be fun. I'm going to live like a local for the week. A little tiny one horse village. Cool, right? I should do I should do a tour from there. I wonder if I can. I wonder if I need anything special for overseas. I know I need um, something special on my phone where I just call the phone company and they do something. Oh yeah, this weather is mixed too. It's crazy, right? This morning it was sunny, blue skies, pretty mild temperatures. The temperature, gosh, it was 80 degrees yesterday. Oh my goodness. But now we're here comes the weekend, right? See, here comes the clouds. Now we're supposed to get rain and the wind's picking up and temperature is going down. I'm good though. I am. I'm good, Sarah. I have to say. All is well with me. I wish all was well in everybody else's world, but hey, it's the only one I'm responsible for, so we're good. Okay, well, 4 o'clock, ready to work. Let's do this. Okay, so I don't know if anybody else is out there. Guess we'll find out. Murder most green. Okay, murder most green. This is a one of Jack Patch's little plays that is the dinner theater type. All the ones that I have, we performed in a community theater environment. We were raising money for the community theater, so we would have these little shows. Anyway, they're also meant, well, what they're really meant for is for people, for individuals like myself, to take this home and set up a party, set up a dinner, invite people, and have them know ahead of time that they're going to be participating as a character. And they're really a lot of fun. I've never gone to a home one, but I have been at some large gatherings as well as some more intimate ones. So but these are always fun to do for sure. Okay, so Murder Most Green by Jack Pachuta. Discover who did away with Patrick Flaherty before he could celebrate St. Patrick's Day. Poor guy, he had to miss out. Okay, so this is what we have. We've been called in to help assess the facts and evidence that we have to determine who it was that killed Patrick Flaherty. Now, we do have suspects, a list of suspects. Let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 suspects. They have already been interviewed and they've given statements. And so we're going to review that as well as some of the other evidence that's turned up. So, first of all, some background. Flattery's True Green Plant Nursery has been serving the city of Blarney for 100 years. When Patrick Flaherty arrived in town and built a greenhouse to grow plants which were popular in his native Ireland. Through the years, operations expanded, and 10 years ago, Pater's grandson, Patrick, became majority owner of a business that is still family run. Today, Flaherty's is a major producer of shamrocks, supplying the entire state with the plant, especially for the wearing of the green. Although rumors persist that family members have been at odds with each other for years, the family has maintained an outward calm, denying all rumors of a rift. Last night, however, the family, the nursery staff, and the nursery's best customers gathered at the Blarney Inn to celebrate the nursery's 100th anniversary. Patrick Flaherty was at the center of attention as the milestone was toasted. He was supposed to spend the night at the inn with members of his family, but this morning his body was found in the pond at the rear of the nursery. Tonight was to have been another party, this one celebrating St. Patrick's Day, with Patrick in attendance as the honored guest. Instead, looks like it's going to be Patrick's wake. Who knows what will happen when you and the others gather to remember the life of Patrick Flaherty. Okay, so 7 suspects. First, Fiona Riley Flaherty, wife of the deceased, the widow Flaherty. This was the second marriage for both Patrick and Fiona. They met 2 years ago while Patrick was in Ireland, and they were married 6 months later in Blarney. Seamus Flaherty, he is the son of Patrick Flaherty. He is never married, and he spent his whole life in his father's house. He will inherit the nursery upon Patrick's death, the latest in a line of Flahertys who have owned the nursery for the past 100 years. Molly Flaherty, she's the daughter of the deceased Patrick Flaherty, and she is also Seamus's twin sister. Last year, she returned to Blarney after a 17-year absence. She never told anyone about her life while she was gone. Sean Flaherty, first cousin of the deceased and a native of County Cork. He arrived in Blarney 4 weeks ago to complete a task. Mysterious. His family members consider him to be a bit eccentric because of his beliefs. I guess we'll find out what they are shortly. Rory O'Casey. Rory O'Casey is the operations manager at at the operations manager at um, at the nursery, and he has limited experience with plants, which is curious. He was hired by Patrick to run the nursery. He lives in a small cottage on the nursery grounds. Kathleen Moriarty, she is an employee at the nursery. She was born in Ireland and she's worked for Patrick for 40 years. She is a self-educated expert on flowers and exotic plants. And then we have Megan Sheffield, and she is the nursery's best customer. Aficionado of flora, she visits the nursery weekly to select fresh cut flowers and potted plants to decorate her flat in Blarney. So those are the 7 suspects that we are working with. Now, as I said, the detectives took some preliminary information and also a statement from each of these people. So we're going to start with Molly Flaherty. Okay. Now, Molly, we know, is Patrick's daughter and his son Seamus's twin sister. Molly and Patrick are, I'm sorry, Seamus and Molly are Patrick's only 2 children. We know that Molly left Blarney 17 years ago, but we don't know why. And we don't know why she stayed away too long. And we don't know why she came back. But we do know that she works in the nursery, in Flaherty's True Green Plant Nursery. But she doesn't really seem to be totally involved with it, is what some of her coworkers have said. So let's see. Neither one of Patrick's children married or have children, and so apparently that is a sore spot with him. Molly gets an inheritance only if she's married and to someone who's Irish and of the same faith. Interesting. Oh, let's see. She had breakfast with the family the day of the party. Family members thought she'd seem a bit distant. Seamus thought she seemed upset on the drive over. And throughout the day, in fact, Molly was seen crying by a few people. When her stepmother Fiona called her out on it, apparently Molly showed Fiona an engagement ring that she had in her pocket, explaining it was from a lost love. Now, I think what we're leaning towards is that Molly must have had a beau, probably one not approved of by her father, and so she left. But why'd she come back? All right, here is the statement from Molly. Yes, I've been away a long time, but I had my reasons. Patrick thought he could control my life, tell me who I could love and who I couldn't love. I found the love of my life, and now he's gone. You see, Patrick wanted all of his grandchildren to be as true green as the shamrocks in his nursery. Okay. Thank you, Molly. Oh, next up, Patrick's widow. and the twin stepmother, Fiona Riley Flaherty. Okay. Now remember, this is the second marriage for Fiona and Patrick. So, let's see. She met Patrick 2 years ago in a pub near Shannon Airport, and now she, of course, came here and lives here. Let's see. Her first husband was Ryan Riley and died 3 years ago after a 25-year-long marriage. They had 6 children, 5 boys and a girl, and they all are on their own and they all live in Ireland. Patrick's first wife, Moira, was killed in a freak occurrence 35 years ago. She was struck by lightning during a thunderstorm and left Patrick alone to raise his twins, Seamus and Molly. Okay, so Patrick's statement is as follows. Fiona's statement is as follows. Patrick, my dear love, I will miss you so much. The death of a spouse is a terrible thing. I know because I've been through this experience before. Because of Patrick's heart condition, I thought that I might lose him unexpectedly, but I never dreamt that it would be such an unlikely demise as this. He was liked by everyone, so his death must have been a horrible accident. I don't know why he went back to the nursery last night. Seamus has been a rock of Gibraltar today, and I couldn't love him more if he were my own flesh and blood. I know that he'll carry on the family tradition of growing the finest plants in the Blarney area. Patrick, you are such a wonderful husband. What will I do now that you're gone? Next up, Ms. Kathleen Moriarty. Moriarty. Kathleen is an employee at the nursery, Flattery's True Green Plant Nursery. She is from Ireland, born in County Cork 40 years ago, middle child, and only sibling to leave Ireland. She came to Blarney to be near Patrick Flaherty. They met 5 years ago when he was on one of his regular trips to Ireland. He was in his early 50s and liked to travel. So he was a widower, and he had, explained how he lost his first wife and that he had twins and such and such. And then after staying 2 weeks, Patrick came back to the nursery and but decided to continue the relationship long distance as some of our other sources have indicated. Patrick supposedly, uh, thought that she was a good worker, and there were questions though about why she really followed him over here, apparently. So this is Miss Moriarty's statement. She said, Patrick, your life had an impact on us all. Your death will affect us in different ways. I've known Patrick for nearly 5 years. His moods, his feelings, the dedication he displayed when he became emotionally involved in a cause. I also know things will surely change at the nursery now that he's no longer with us. I'm pleased that I had a chance to drink a farewell toast with Patrick last night. It had a special meaning to me, and it was indeed fitting that he spend his last night on earth with his family and friends. I don't know what I'll do now. Many things are happening. Patrick, I'll always remember you. Thank you, Miss Moriarty. Next up, Sean Flaherty. He's a cousin. Okay. Uh, Sean is Patrick's first cousin. So that means that he is close related. Parents were siblings. Uh, Sean was born in Cork, County Cork, 55 years ago to Eileen and Sheridan Flaherty. Sheridan Flaherty and his father Patrick were brothers. Let's see. And your father moved to the States, but his brother did not. Let's see, both of Sean's parents are deceased. But he has 6 brothers and 3 sisters, and they all still live in Ireland. They have distanced themselves over the years. One of his brothers is Colin Flaherty, owner of Flaherty's Brewery. Okay. What he said is as follows. "'Tis indeed a tragedy, my poor cousin. I have insights into such things, and I know somehow that Patrick's death would be a wee bit strange. I know that I was meant to be here at this time, to be near my cousin as he passed into the world of spirits and unearthly powers. My month in Blarney has been a rare experience, but Patrick's death is a signal to me, a sign that my task will soon be complete. Now I have some decisions to make. I'll be consulting with my colleagues to find out what they want me to do. Poor Patrick, if only you had understood what your actions would lead to." Okay. If only. Next is Patrick's son, Seamus, Molly's twin. Seamus is Patrick's only son, grandson to Pater. He was born here in Blarney 36 years ago, and he is 11 minutes older than his twin sister, Molly. They both attended local schools, earned their diplomas, and began working for their father at the nursery. As far as Seamus goes, plants have been his life, and he was engaged once, but he is never married. And he's lived in his family's home from forever, still there now. He's always been aware of his father's feelings towards Ireland, his loyalty. Extreme Irish nationalism was passed down through the generations from Pater to his son Fergus, and finally to his father, and then to Patrick. Oh, so Patrick is Pater's great grandson. So he thinks that his father has more going on with Irish extremers than they let on. Okay, what else happened? Oh, Seamus had met Fiona at the airport as well. Okay, what he has to say. Seamus says, "All of you have my deepest appreciation for being here tonight. to celebrate the life of my father, this occurred earlier, Patrick Flaherty. As a true green Irishman, he would have wanted his wake to be a festive occasion. So I've invited all of you here to share our memories with you. Father was a man of conviction and intense beliefs. His regular visits to Ireland brought to his life brought joy to his life and reinforced the ties that have always bound him to the old sod. I've been loyal to my father for these many years, and I know that he took little notice of the small tiff we had yesterday. He wasn't the type of man to carry a grudge. I'm certain that in his will, he has left the nursery to me. I proudly assume ownership of the business, which has been in my family for these past 100 years. I make my father proud of me because I believe he can see us, even now. Let me propose a toast to Patrick Flaherty, family man and friend to all. His tragic accident cannot erase the memories of one who is so dear to all of us. Okay. Next up, we have the operations man. That is Rory O'Casey. So Rory O'Casey, let's see, operations manager, right? Um, he's been in that position for 2 years. Oh, but here's a secret. His duties at the nursery are a cover for his true activities. Rory O'Casey is the local agent of the Irish Freedom Army, the IFA. He was born in Dublin 43 years ago, and his parents were dedicated Republicans. He was swept up in the cause and over the years advanced in the responsibilities and authority within that movement. After some clandestine operations in Ireland, he was sent to the US to establish a contact. And so it was in that context that he was in that pub near Shannon Airport. To be a popular place. And ran into Patrick Flaherty. And anyway, he overheard the conversation and then realized that he had loyalties to the Republican cause as well. And so when Patrick was finished talking, Rory approached him and they had some conversations. And then after, let's see, 22 months later, Rory came to the US to work for Patrick. Okay, what Rory had to say for himself was at the wake. First, I must propose a toast to the cause, says he. Patrick was a good Republican and would have wanted it that way. Everyone join me to the cause. I'm grateful for the opportunity that Patrick gave me at the nursery. He knew I wasn't experienced with flowers and plants, but he gave me a chance to prove myself. I feel as if I've known him all my life, even though we met only 2 years ago in Ireland. Now I have an announcement. As of tomorrow, I am resigning from my position at Flaherty's. After Patrick's wake, I will be moving on. Thank you for your friendship. I miss all of you, and sincerely hope that we can keep in touch with each other. Kathleen, you in particular will be hearing from me. Sounded a bit ominous. Miss Megan Sheffield. Oh, she's a regular customer of Flaherty's. She keeps fresh flowers in her house that she purchases from the nursery. So she's a regular, steady customer. Okay, she's a customer, but she is also an agent for the M15, the British Intelligence Service. She's on special assignment in Blarney. Apparently, she's worked many espionage cases and has been an agent working for the Queen for nearly 25 years. Blarney, as M15 had discovered, could be the center of a fundraising and recruiting scheme for the IFA, the Irish Freedom Army. And so Megan apparently came to town to determine exactly what was going on. What Megan had to say, her statement reads as follows. I have only known Patrick Flaherty for the past 9 months, but I've grown to appreciate the intensity with which he lived his life. As many of you know, I love the flowers and plants of Ireland. So once a week, I visit Flaherty's nursery to choose the best specimens as decorations for my flat in Blarney. Yesterday, I purchased cut flowers and a small pot of shamrocks for St. Patrick's Day. I understand the love and care that has gone into the nursery. The facilities are always spotless, and the new shamrock planters are a thing of beauty. The sprinklers are very efficient. I know that it's important to keep the beds moist to simulate the climate in Ireland. I was told that Rory designed and built the entire system. All of this, of course, is a tribute to Patrick Flaherty. I'll gladly join his family and other friends in saying that he will be missed. All right. Now, that concludes the information that we have on the suspect. And let's take another look at the suspects, though. Let's review. We've got Seamus, who's Patrick's only son. He works with Patrick probably more than any of the other relatives, and so he would assume that upon Patrick's death, he would inherit the business. Molly, Patrick's only daughter, Seamus's twin sister, only sister. She took off 17 years ago and then came back with no explanation. I'm sure there's a good backstory going on there. Patrick's widow, Fiona, was his second wife. His first wife was killed in a freak accident. She was struck by lightning. Fiona and Patrick have only been married 18 months. Their relationship began in a whirlwind romance in Ireland. Sean, Patrick's first cousin from County Cork, considered to be a bit eccentric and showed up there in Blarney 4 weeks ago, and everybody's still trying to figure out why. Rory O'Casey. Mr. Operations Manager keeps the nursery running smooth. Hired by Patrick to run the business that he really doesn't know that much about. Has something to do. There's some undercurrents there about undercover assignments, I do believe. Kathleen Moriarty. She's an employee at the nursery. She's worked there for 4 years and is a plant expert. Also, she is good friends with Patrick. Megan is the nursery's steadiest customer. Each week she shows up there like clockwork and buys fresh flowers for her house and exotic plants to decorate her flat. So let's see. Now, here's the layout of the nursery. Here, so we can have some logistics here. Trying to get this so you can see it all. Okay, so remember the law enforcement that initiated the investigation said that the body was found in the pond. So the pond's over here. There's a cottage over there. Okay, here's the family's house. And this is all trees. You got shrubs growing here, flower beds. Let's see, storage shed. There's a garage. Okay, parking lot and the main greenhouse. And then 4 smaller greenhouses. So he's got quite a system going on there, you know. Hey Judy, how are you? So yeah, quite a thing going on. So okay. Now we've just received the report from Mr. I am Cutting, the coroner. Let's see. This letter is in response to your request for information concerning the death of Patrick Flaherty, whose body was found in the pond at Flaherty's True Green Plant Nursery. Although the complete autopsy will not be available for several days, my office has discovered the following preliminary information. Patrick Flaherty's death was caused by heart failure due to an overdose of a drug stimulant. Oh my goodness. Heart failure due to an overdose of a drug stimulant. At present, we have not identified this specific drug. Due to the absence of water in his lungs and the lack of any physical marks on his body, we believe that exposure to the water may have contributed to his death, but it was not the primary cause. The time of death is determined to be between 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. The staff of the coroner's office is waiting for the analysis results of tissue samples and body fluids. If I can be of any further assistance, don't hesitate to call. And that's from the office of the coroner. So that's interesting. a drug, a stimulant, something that stimulated him so much and blew his heart up, sounds like. Okay, now we have heard talk about the property, the nursery, inheritances. So it's no surprise that there was a will located, the last will and testament of Patrick Flaherty. Before I read this, I'm going to excuse myself for 1 second. Don't go away. All right, come on, girls, go outside. Go. Sorry about that. The office dog needed to go outside. Okay, are you ready for the last will and testament of Patrick Fergus Flaherty? I, Patrick Fergus Flaherty, owner of Flaherty's Two Green Plant Nursery, on this 14th day of February, being of sound mind, body, and spirit, do hereby leave this last will and testament. Whereas my children have produced no heirs to maintain the nursery as a family operation, and whereas a comfortable existence will be provided to my wife, Fiona, from the estate of her first husband, Ryan Riley. And whereas the cause of freedom and justice require champions who must courageously make marks on history, I hereby direct that upon my death, Flaherty's True Green Plant Nursery be sold and the proceeds added to my stocks, bonds, and bank accounts, then distributed in the following way. To my loving wife, Fiona, a lump sum of $80,000. She made my life happy and complete, far beyond what words can tell. To Kathleen Moriarty, my dear employee and special friend, sufficient funds to cover all expenses of a one-way first-class ticket on the Queen Elizabeth II to Southampton, then a flight to Ireland so that she may return to the land of her birth. To my son Seamus, a lump sum of $35,000 to be held in trust until he finds a wife and establishes his own identity in the world, producing a new generation of Flahertys. To my daughter Molly, who was estranged from me for so many years, a lump sum of $20,000 to be held in trust until she finds a husband of Irish ancestry who has the proper religious background. Should either of my children marry wisely within 5 years of my death, should neither of my children marry wisely within 5 years of my death, their inheritance would be added to the lump sum indicated in item 6. Item 6. The remainder of my estate is to be deposited in a bank account of the Bank of Dublin, Carey Street branch, Dublin, Ireland, where it will be used to support the advancement of the cause. I hereby appoint my good friend and colleague, Rory O'Casey, as my executor. For this service in this capacity, he is to be paid a lump sum of $100,000 for use as he sees fit in the important work he has undertaken. Signed, Patrick Fergus Flaherty. Witnesses, Bridget Doherty and Michael McKelly. Sheds a bit of light there, doesn't it? A little extraordinary light there, doesn't it? Well, so you guys have any clues, any ideas of who it might be? Yeah, Rory or Sean? Well, those are good guesses. Good guesses there. How about you, Judy? Who you think? Hmm. Who do you suppose? I'm not sure who I think. Let's see. Where's the names medium? We got Seamus. Okay, here's what I think. Okay, so we have Seamus, who's Patrick's only son. Now he assumed that this would be passed down to him. I wonder if he had any inkling what the will said. If he had any idea or thoughts. I can't. Okay, I can if Seamus wasn't his son, I'd say it was Seamus because he's expecting to get it, to carry on. You know, I don't see anyone like I don't believe his wife would try to kill him, Fiona, because he left her a generous amount. Heck, he left her more than his son and his daughter combined, actually. And plus, she got some money from her first husband when he died. And then, okay, but then we have those spies too, right? The M15 agent and oh yeah, the IFA agent, how they figure in. Mhm. Let's see. Oh, there's a note here on one of these sheets that police traced a call. Oh, the call that was made to report Patrick Flaherty's death, the discovery of his body was traced back to Megan Sheffield's cell phone. So she must have been the one that found the body. They didn't really tell us who did. What you guys think? Maybe Sean. Yeah, Sean, I'm thinking too. And plus, he's a little iffy, Sean is. And I think he might be part of that radical radical Irish group there that wants to overthrow something or another. So, all right, well, now is the moment of truth. Okay, first of all, we have to answer the questions that cover motive, means, and opportunity. Okay, motive, why? Why did he or she commit this murder? What is the motive? The means, how did they do it? Right? How did they commit the murder? How did they arrange the circumstances to make it happen? And lastly, who had the opportunity? Who had the access to, first of all, Patrick, and access to some type of poison, correct? The poison that caused his heart attack. So It gives us motive, means, and opportunity. That's what we need to find. All right. Here is the denouncement. Are we ready to hear the facts? All right. Okay. The denouncement. To solve this case, three things must be considered. Oops, no. Three things must be considered. Motive, means, opportunity. All right, motive. Fiona Riley Flaherty, loving wife of Patrick Flaherty. Several years ago, Fiona could never have conceived of herself married to a Flaherty. After all, she believed it was because of a Flaherty that her first husband, Ryan Riley, had a fatal heart attack. Ooh, he had a heart attack, and so did Patrick. Huh, okay. All right. Riley was a brewer whose main competitor was a brewery owned by Patrick's first cousin, Colin Flaherty. It was only after Patrick swept her off her feet in an Irish pub that she agreed to become his wife. Since her marriage to Patrick Flaherty 18 months ago, her 6 children and her other family members have been estranged from her, a situation that she longs to rectify. Seamus Flaherty, Patrick's son who had devoted his life to the nursery. Seamus never married, a fact that was highly disturbing to his father. So, no new generations of Flahertys had yet appeared. Seamus is irritated that, after years of loyal service to the nursery, his father brought Rory in to manage the business. Seamus, as requested, dutifully trained Rory, even though Rory seemed to lack and be devoid of any interest in gardening. Last night, Seamus once again confronted his father about the situation, but to no avail. And Seamus had heard that a new will may have been drawn up. The will, as we have seen, includes Patrick Flaherty's disappointment in his son, something which Seamus has a difficult time dealing with. Molly Flaherty, Patrick's daughter, Seamus's twin sister, returned to the nursery last year after being away for 17 years. She was estranged from her father because she blamed him for the death of a man who she considered her one true love. Ooh, now we get the story. 2 years after leaving home, Molly fell in love with Gunther Hauser, a mountain climber in Colorado. She contacted her father, who met the couple, and strongly proclaimed he would not support the marriage. Hauser was not Irish, and, said Flaherty, his grandchildren must be too green, true green. Shortly after that, Hauser fell to his death when he failed to anchor himself properly to the mountain. Molly believes her father's rejection had something to do with this. Last night she showed Fiona the ring which Hauser had given her. Molly carries it with her always. Sean Flaherty is Patrick's first cousin. Sean is a wee bit eccentric. Since he was 12 years old, Sean has believed that a leprechaun. Go figure. He believes he's a leprechaun. A rather tall leprechaun, but a leprechaun. He came to the nursery 4 weeks ago and helps, or gives the appearance of helping, around the nursery. His real mission, though, is to find the pot of gold that belongs to his leprechaun friend. He was told by them that the gold is somewhere on the grounds of the nursery, and Sean thinks he's located it. But what must he do to make sure he can get it back to Ireland without Patrick finding out? Kathleen Moriarty, an employee of the nursery. Kathleen has lived in the States for 4 years, even though she came into the country on a 6-month visa. Kathleen came to America to be with Patrick Flaherty, popular guy. They started an affair in Ireland 5 years ago, one which continued as Patrick made his regular trips back and forth to Ireland. She unexpectedly showed up at the pages are sticking together at the nursery to be with them. Since then, Patrick has been paying the rent on her flat in Blarney, gave her a car, paid her in cash, and pays her in cash to work at the nursery. When Patrick married Fiona, the affair came to a screeching halt. But the spark in Catherine still smoldered. With all that has happened, she's uncertain whether she loves him or despises him. She must decide what she's going to do, and soon. Rory O'Casey is the nursery's manager. No experience with plants, no experience with flowers, no experience with gardens before he came there 2 years ago. He wasn't hired by Patrick Flaherty for his gardening expertise, obviously, but more for his political beliefs. Rory is a functionary of the Irish Freedom Army and, as such, is in the US to collect contraband that can be transferred to his colleagues to help further the cause of the Republic. Patrick shared Rory's views and 2 years ago hatched a plan to bring Rory to the States to run his greenhouse while they gathered contraband to ship back to Ireland. The new greenhouses where the shamrocks are grown also serve as a vault for Rory's cache of material. That's why they were designed to be so sturdy. And Rory has a love interest. His affections for Kathleen Moriarty have become more and more obvious. But she continued to reject him because of her love for Patrick. Megan Sheffield is the customer. Her regular presence at the nursery were more than just shopping trips, right? Because in reality, we just found out that Megan is the M15 agent, and M15 we know is the British Secret Service. Rory and Patrick's activities have evidently been under observation by Megan since she moved to Blarney. She knew about the contraband hidden in the shamrock planters, and she anticipated that the contents would be moved to another location fairly soon and then transported to Ireland. It was her job to do anything she could to foil the plans of the IFA. Who knows exactly what it would entail? But, so, 7 suspects, 7 different motives, right? Let's go on to the means. Okay, so there was a party last night to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the plant nursery. A party that unexpectedly turned into a wake. Patrick had made plans for last night, and it was more than just a festive occasion. It was intriguing that Patrick Flaherty refrained from the many toasts proposed at the party. It was all right for him to drink last night, even though he's taken an experimental heart medication for a heart problem 3 times a week. He can drink, however, on days when he is not on the medication. His doctors felt that the drug mixed with too much alcohol could produce a potentially lethal result. Yesterday, he didn't take the pills. Therefore, he needed to have a clear head because of something that was planned for early this morning. One thing did change. Around 10:30, Kathleen insisted that Patrick drink champagne with her. For old time's sake, she said. And so Patrick complied. A key to this investigation is what happened after the celebration ended. Where did everyone go? And what were they doing? Kathleen left the party shortly after 11 o'clock, got into her car, and returned to her apartment in Blarney. Seamus and Molly, as far as we know, went to their rooms at the inn around midnight. Seamus let his anger subside from the confrontation he'd had with his father earlier in the evening. It was difficult for him to accept Patrick's decision to put Rory in charge of the nursery. Molly still remembered his lost love and stared at the ring that she had shown to Fiona earlier in the evening. Okay, hold on 1 second. That dog that went out, got to come back in. All right, so where were we? Oh, okay. Cousin Sean, he left the party at 11:30 without saying goodbye to anyone. Oh, your phone cut out. I knew. Um, He didn't say goodbye. He walked back to his apartment above the garage at the nursery and promptly fell asleep, knowing that his mission to find the gold would soon be over. He had a strange dream last night, or was it a dream? Patrick Flaherty had a job to perform last night. He and Rory were expecting a truck to pull up at the nursery about 1:30 a.m. The contraband stored in the Shamrock planters would be moved to another location and shipped out to support the cause. Earlier in the evening, the two of them had debated who would be there. Patrick told Rory that he would meet the truck by himself. After all, it was Patrick who had provided the IFA facility to accumulate the material. Patrick wanted to be there to take full credit. When he left Fiona shortly after 1 a.m., he drove to the nursery to meet the truck. But as Fiona noted, he wasn't feeling well at the time. Fiona went to sleep and never realized that Patrick didn't return to the inn. And Rory, what about him? He left the party after 1 a.m. He didn't go to the nursery. Instead, he went to Kathleen's flat, where, once again, he begged her to leave Blarney with him. For weeks now, he'd been telling Kathleen that his work at the nursery was really nearly done, and he wanted her to go with him. He was in love with her, he said. The two talked until early in the morning. Megan Sheffield had more important plans when she left the party. She drove to the nursery and waited for the truck that was sent by the IFA. The British Secret Service had found out about the pickup, and Megan was there to observe the events and report back to her superiors. The transfer took place on schedule between 1:30 and 2 a.m. That's when cousin Sean, dreamt he saw a truck loading up the gold. It wasn't a dream. Megan saw Patrick Flaherty wave to the agents in the truck, then stagger to the back of the property. Early this morning, she decided to investigate the scene and found Patrick's body in the pond. She used her cell phone to report the death to the police. I am pleased to report that the FBI has intercepted that truck and its contents have been confiscated. So, what caused the death of Patrick Flaherty? The letter from the coroner lets us know that indeed um, the letter from the coroner let us know that indeed sorry, that as means for murdering him was his heart medication. The means for murdering him was his heart medication. Last night, he took the medication, but not the way he normally takes it. It was, you see, given to him, dissolved in a drink. For earlier in the day, someone had stolen the medication from Patrick's bathroom under the guise of looking for a lost watch. The same someone took the opportunity to say goodbye to him, realizing that the medication mixed with alcohol would take several hours to have its deadly effect. She had dissolved the pills in a bottle of champagne that Patrick Flaherty could not refuse to drink. The fact that he fell into the pond as he breathed his last breath was simply the hand of fate tapping her former lover on the shoulder. The same person was planning to leave the nursery with a new love, someone who would not treat her as badly as Patrick Flaherty had treated her. And that person is Kathleen Moriarty. Issue a warrant for her arrest. Kathleen Moriarty killed Patrick Flaherty. Yay! Okay. Anybody guess Kathleen? I certainly didn't. Interesting story. Let's see, I think not next week, but the next week I've got one of these for Easter. An Easter murder mystery called Lurking Down the Bunny Trail. How about that? Lurking Down the Bunny Trail. The same good. I hope so. All right, now I gotta put this back together. I hate when I get things out of order. Okay, well, that concludes our presentation of Murder Most Green by Jack Flaherty. For those of you that are watching it later, hope you enjoy it. And if anybody wants to check out more of my tours, you can find information Bay Lady on Facebook and YouTube, and X marks the spot. Good night, guys. See ya. Yes, you were wrong. Kathleen Moriarty. All right. Good night, ladies.